Welcome back to another deep dive. This time, you've given us something special.
Yeah.
Excerpts from Alice Walker's The Color Purple and a biography of Alice Walker herself.
Really fascinating combo.
It is, so we're going to explore Celie.
The novel's protagonist?
Right, and the world she navigates.
A world of, well,
Stark realities,
for sure.
resilience, even moments of beauty.
All wrapped up in Walker's prose.
Get ready for some insights.
You know, what's captivating to me
Mm.
is how Walker blends Celie's voice, raw and unfiltered through her letters,
Right.
with the biographical details of Walker's own life.
It adds so much depth.
It does. It's not just a fictional story. It's like
Yeah,
it illuminates the realities for Black women in the early 20th century.
especially in the South.
Absolutely, the rural South.
And the beginning of The Color Purple.
Oh, it's that.
It's like opening a time capsule of emotions.
You said it.
Walker doesn't shy away from anything.
Not at all.
The abuse, the poverty.
And then the separation from Nettie.
It's just heartbreaking.
It is such a crucial part of the story.
Why do you think so?
Well, it highlights the theme that runs through the whole book,
Right.
the systematic stripping away of agency.
From Black women.
Exactly. It makes you look beyond just individual cruelty,
You start to see the whole society.
built on these power imbalances.
Wow. Yeah, and when Celie writes,
Oh, which line are you thinking of?
"You too dumb to keep going to school, Pelle."
Oh, that one gets me every time.
It's like a punch to the gut.
You can feel that ingrained oppression.
But even with that despair,
Yeah.
you see her resilience
For longing to learn,
to connect with Nettie.
that desire never fades.
Never completely fades.
Exactly. And it's heartbreaking how Celie is conditioned to believe
Oh, yeah.
that she's less intelligent, less worthy.
It's awful.
Walker shows us how these beliefs perpetuate the cycle.
Of oppression.
Yes, but that yearning for something more.
Right.
It speaks to the strength inside her.
Waiting to be ignited.
I love that. Waiting to be ignited. And then there's the whole situation with Celie's marriage.
To Mr.
I almost feel disrespectful calling it a marriage.
Me too. It's more like
She's offered up as a replacement,
a replacement for Nettie,
like a transaction.
where her value's based on, well,
Working and bearing children.
it's so dehumanizing.
It is, and sadly common then.
Walker doesn't let us forget that
Yeah.
Celie's spirit, her desires,
They're completely disregarded.
it's a stark illustration of how those societal norms.
Diminish and control Black women's lives.
Absolutely. And then,
Boom.
right.
Shug Avery enters the scene.
Like a whirlwind.
A whirlwind.
Independence, glamour,
Self-assurance.
everything Celie isn't.
Yeah, and her arrival,
Changes everything.
it upends the power structure.
Totally. Shug's a catalyst.
I like that, a catalyst.
She shows Celie, and us as readers, that a different life is possible.
A life where women, Black women especially,
Can be free, expressive, in control.
it's inspiring.
It is, but remember.
Shug's not just a symbol.
You're right.
She's complex. Her own struggles, complexities.
Which adds so much to the story.
Exactly. She's not one-dimensional.
And speaking of powerful women,
Oh, I know who you're going to say.
we can't forget Sofia.
Right.
She's resistance in its rawest form.
Raw power,
Physically strong, refuses to be controlled.
especially by Harpa.
That scene where she knocks out Squeak's teeth,
Whoa.
and the line, "I used to hunt game with a bow and arrow."
Makes her seem almost mythical.
Almost.
But her strength comes from necessity,
Yeah.
It's a refusal to be subjugated.
So different from Celie's submissiveness.
It shows the different ways women navigate oppression.
But her defiance comes at a price.
Sadly, especially back then,
The system doesn't reward that.
especially for Black women.
It's so unfair.
It is. But what's amazing is how Celie finds her own empowerment,
In a quieter way.
more introspective.
Through pants making.
It might seem simple.
But it's a profound shift.
Walker is brilliant.
Well, how so?
She uses this everyday activity.
To show Celie's transformation.
Yes.
Hmm.
Pants, usually associated with men, with power,
Right.
become a symbol of self-reliance for Celie.
Even financial freedom.
It's like she's stitching together a new life.
One stitch at a time.
I love that imagery.
And throughout it all,
We can't forget.
Nettie's letters.
Oh, they're so important.
A lifeline for Celie.
And so cruel of Mr. to hide them.
Cutting her off from the world.
From hope.
From Nettie.
It's more than just keeping her in the dark, though.
What do you mean?
He's controlling her sense of self.
Her connection to her family.
It's her history.
Trying to erase any part of her that doesn't fit.
In his narrow view of a Black woman.
That's so messed up.
It is, but thankfully we have Nettie's letters.
providing a counter-narrative
A glimpse into different realities.
through her experiences in Africa.
We see colonialism, global power dynamics.
How women experience their lives differently.
It adds another layer to the story.
Wow, and it makes you think about Alice Walker's life.
And how it parallels Celie's.
You can tell she drew inspiration from her own experiences.
As a Black woman navigating a world
Full of injustice.
full of inequality,
It wasn't just a story. It was
channeling her experiences as an activist
an advocate,
for social justice.
especially for Black women.
You could see it in everything.
Her involvement in the civil rights movement.
Her admiration for Zora Neale Hurston.
Another champion of Black female narratives.
It makes the novel that much more powerful.
Knowing it's rooted in real struggle.
And real triumphs
It adds another dimension.
to the reading experience.
For sure, it makes you realize the importance of context,
Absolutely.
of understanding the world that shaped the author.
And the story.
The Color Purple isn't just fiction.
It's a reflection of a time
And of a place.
and of that indomitable spirit.
that persists.
Even in the face of hardship.
Wow.
Powerful stuff, right?
It really is.
It really is powerful. And
Yeah.
that's what makes The Color Purple so impactful.
You know, one thing that struck me is how even with all the hardship,
Yeah.
there are these moments of
Well, like,
beauty, human connection, even joy.
oh, I see.
Like when Celie discovers her voice through song.
Right, at Harpo's juke joint.
When Shug sings Miss Celie's song.
That scene always gives me chills.
Me too. Those moments are vital.
They remind us that even in dark times,
Yeah.
beauty and strength can emerge.
Resilience isn't just about enduring,
It's about nurturing your spirit.
connecting with something bigger than yourself.
Exactly. And it makes you think
Oh, boy.
how we define happiness.
Right.
It's not always grand gestures or escaping.
Sometimes it's about those small victories.
The connections that make life worth living.
Even when it feels like the world's against you.
And those moments, they often appear
Where?
in the most unexpected places.
Like with Celie and Sofia,
Even with their differences,
they find common ground,
support each other.
a testament to female solidarity.
And then there's Celie and Mr.
That's a complicated one.
It is. From dominance and control to
It's something resembling respect, even care.
such a fascinating exploration of human nature.
So many twists and turns.
Who would have predicted Mr. caring for Celie after Shug leaves?
I know, right?
Or finding solace in her presence?
After years of mistreating her,
It speaks to growth and change.
in the most unlikely circumstances.
It's like Walker's showing us
Right.
the messiness of human relationships.
Her characters are flawed,
They make mistakes, they hurt each other,
but they're capable of growth
of forgiveness, of finding connection.
in unexpected ways.
It's more realistic than just good versus evil.
For sure. And Celie's journey.
It's not a straight path.
It's full of setbacks, disappointments.
Moments of doubt.
But through those challenges,
She discovers herself,
her resilience,
her own path to fulfillment,
it's not linear.
which is important to see.
It's about learning from your experiences,
Positive and negative.
striving for a better version of yourself.
There's no end point, just a journey
A journey of self-discovery.
throughout life.
And speaking of journeys,
We have to talk more about
Nettie's letters.
more than just updates,
They're like windows to another world
offering a different perspective.
on race, colonialism,
Female agency
and Mr. hiding them.
adds another layer of cruelty.
He wasn't just controlling information.
Right, he was controlling her sense of self.
Wow, and Nettie's letters
Provides such a powerful counter-narrative.
through her experiences in Africa
We see how colonialism and racism operate.
on a global scale.
It expands the scope of the novel.
Makes us think about the interconnectedness of oppression.
And how it impacts people differently.
Nettie's letters highlight something else too.
What's that?
The power of knowledge.
An education?
They open up new possibilities for Celie,
Challenge her assumptions.
play a crucial role in her self-discovery.
It's amazing how they become a source of empowerment,
A source of hope.
connection, a world beyond her reality,
They're bridges to a wider world
where knowledge can break down barriers.
of prejudice and oppression.
A powerful message, given the context,
And again,
the parallels.
between Alice Walker's life and Celie's journey.
It's clear she drew inspiration.
From her own experiences as a Black woman,
Navigating a society,
full of injustice and inequality,
those echoes are undeniable.
her involvement in the civil rights movement,
Her dedication to Black female voices,
it informs the themes in The Color Purple, and her admiration for Zora Neale Hurston.
is all connected.
It reminds us that these stories, these voices,
They've always been there.
even if they weren't always heard,
Or celebrated.
like Hurston,
Sought to reclaim those narratives.
to give voice to the marginalized,
To make us confront uncomfortable truths.
about our history, about ourselves,
Literature can be a powerful tool
for social change.
and personal transformation.
Okay, we've covered so much.
We have Celie's journey, Shug, Sofia,
The letters, Alice Walker's experiences.
but there's more.
What else do you want to unpack?
The symbolism.
Oh, good point.
Walker uses it throughout the novel
To add layers of meaning.
to enhance the emotional impact.
Like what?
The color purple itself,
Oh, right.
more than just a title.
It's about spiritual awakening.
Connection to something bigger,
It appears throughout the story,
like a secret code,
associated with Shug,
with creativity,
when Celie feels most alive.
most connected to her spirit.
It's like she's tapping into something deeper.
Exactly, a deeper meaning,
And then there's the pants making,
not just a trade, right?
more about reclaiming power,
Ageism,
creating something with her own hands,
defining herself on her terms.
taking control.
And of course, the letters.
From Nettie.
Always got to come back to those.
They're so symbolic.
Have hope.
Connection, a world beyond her reality
It's filled with knowledge, experiences,
that broaden her horizons.
fuel her desires.
So we've got colored
don't-
letter,
Ordinary things,
extraordinary meaning,
like Walker's giving us clues
hidden messages.
to unlock the story.
That's what makes it so rewarding.
Each time you revisit
You discover something new.
some layer you missed before.
A novel that keeps unfolding.
Over time.
Now, before we wrap up,
We've got to talk about
the ending,
it's hopeful.
but bittersweet.
Celie finds peace.
Independence
The Shug,
doesn't come back.
not in the way she hoped.
And Nettie's return.
Joyous, but
They've lived such different lives.
it's realistic.
Life's complex.
Triumphs and losses.
Missed connections.
Sometimes people we love.
Choose different paths.
Not a fairy tale.
For reflection of the real world.
Things don't always tie up neatly.
But even so,
That underlying
in
sense,
of resilience,
that belief,
that even in hardship,
you can find the
to
strength.
keep moving forward,
It's a testament to the human spirit.
to adapt, evolve,
Find your own
to
path.
fulfillment.
And that's what makes the color purple so powerful.
It really makes you wonder what happens next.
After the book ends.
How do Celie and Nettie navigate that?
That's the beauty of it.
Walker gives us enough.
To understand their bond.
They're resilient
But she leaves space.
for us to imagine.
Their futures. Their paths.
It's like she's inviting us
To continue the conversation.
to think about family
Identity. Finding your place.
after going through so much.
The color purple is more than just a novel.
It's a catalyst
For reflection.
challenging our assumptions
Celebrating the strength of Black women.
in a way that still resonates today.
Decades later.
You know, something keeps coming back to me.
Was that?
The idea of voice.
Ah, yes.
Celie starts out so silenced,
Afraid to speak.
but through writing,
Connecting with Shug and Sofia.
she finds her voice.
Her power.
Such a transformation.
And that theme transcends the novel.
It does, doesn't it?
Speaks to the importance of creating spaces.
Where voices can be heard,
Stories could be shared.
especially those that have been silenced. It makes you think about how we can use our own voices
To amplify those stories.
to challenge injustice,
To make a difference.
to contribute to a better world,
Especially with the themes of resilience.
and resist.
It's a call to action.
The color purple isn't just about reading,
It's about engaging with the world
using your understanding.
to make a difference.
So, as we wrap up this deep dive,
Into Celie's world.
what do you want our listener to take away?
I hope they see the color purple as more than just a story.
More than just a book.
It's a reflection of our society.
The power of the human spirit
The importance of using our voices.
to create a more just world.
A more compassionate world.
Beautifully said. And to you, listener,
We hope this deep dive
has sparked your curiosity.
inspired you to revisit the novel.
Maybe even think about your own voice.
And the impact you can have
Thanks for joining us,
on this journey.
and we'll catch you next time.
On the deep dive.